You know, when you picture the typical commute in Southeast Asia, there's like a very specific soundtrack to it.
Oh, definitely.
It's just the roar and the hum of thousands of gasoline motorbikes all packed together, creating this chaotic, almost living river of traffic.
Right. It's totally iconic, but it's also incredibly loud, completely dependent on imported fossil fuels, and honestly, just ripe for a massive structural shift.
Exactly. So today, we're doing a deep dive into a new private IQ report on a startup called Dat Bike.
Yeah, and their mission isn't just to, make a tiny dent in that river of traffic.
Right. They want to completely replace every single gas-guzzling engine in Southeast Asia with a high-performance electric alternative, which is huge.
It really is. And while in the electric vehicle space, the standard playbook is usually just assembling generic off-the-shelf parts imported from overseas.
But Dat Bike rejected that model entirely.
No, complete.
Yeah, they're actually designing their critical components completely in-house. I mean, we're talking about their Gen 5 battery, which has a massive 285-kilometer range, and their own proprietary software stack.
Wow, 285 kilometers is a lot.
It's huge, yet they source nearly 90% of their actual parts locally in Vietnam.
So it's basically Apple's playbook, but applied to supply chains.
Exactly. Because they designed the software and that battery in-house, they aren't forced to buy those expensive prepackaged imported kits.
Right, they can just source the raw materials locally, and that completely shields them from global shipping inflation.
Makes sense.
Yeah, owning the actual recipe for every single part gives Dat Bike a really powerful localized engineering moat.
Wait, so owning that entire ecosystem isn't just about being the, Apple of motorbikes.
No.
It's actually the only mathematical way the founder and CEO, Sun Nguyen, can hit his target metric without bleeding cash.
Right, because he is completely obsessed with his company's performance versus price ratio.
Exactly. He's pointed out that the hardest engineering challenge isn't just building an electric bike. I mean, literally anyone can slap a battery on a frame.
Yeah, we see that all the time.
Right. The real challenge is building an electric bike that actually matches a gasoline bike's power and affordability for the everyday mass market.
And that is exactly why that vertical integration is working so well for them. By cutting out those expensive foreign subcontractors, they structurally insulate themselves from global supply chain volatility.
So they aren't at the mercy of sudden spikes in import costs.
Precisely. And this direct control over their manufacturing expenses is exactly what drove the company to achieve its first monthly operating profit in August 2025.
Wow. Hitting an operating profit in hardware is a massive deal.
It really is rare.
So having proven their unit economics locally, they're now using that momentum to fuel a massive physical expansion.
Right. They are backed by $51 million in total funding, which includes a huge Series B round in late 2025.
Yeah, and they're using that to expand their factory capacity from 30,000 units to 100,000 units by late 2026. Oh, and while also preparing for an official commercial launch in Thailand.
That is aggressive.
Wait, hold on though. 30,000 to 100,000 units in a single year, plus launching in Thailand.
It's a lot to take on at once.
Yeah, I mean, hardware startups usually implode when they try to scale production and cross borders at the exact same time. If you're suddenly building 100,000 bikes, you have to buy the raw materials for 100,000 bikes months before a customer ever hands you a single dollar.
Exactly.
So how are they paying for all those parts up front without hitting a massive inventory bottleneck?
Well, that cash flow gap is basically a valley of death for hardware startups.
Right.
But that is exactly where their $51 million war chest comes into play. Though, I mean, operational execution is absolutely critical here.
You have to perfectly time those cash flow cycles, right?
Yeah, so they don't hit a wall before achieving full-year net profitability. And, well, expanding into Thailand does spread their risk out so they aren't relying entirely on one country's economy.
True.
But stepping into a new high purchasing power market introduces whole new layers of regulatory and distribution friction.
Yeah, it's a high-wire act for sure. But the core takeaway for you listening is pretty clear.
Definitely. That bike isn't just assembling vehicles.
Right. They are using localized engineering to prove that sustainable mobility can actually compete on pure price and performance.
It's wild. They're essentially transitioning the motorbike from a simple mechanical tool into a highly integrated smart device.
Which is amazing, but it also brings up a bigger question. If that chaotic river of traffic we talked about earlier gets replaced by smart, software-defined vehicles that rely on over-the-air updates.
Oh, the software side of things.
Exactly. How will the inevitable rise of new cybersecurity threats reshape the everyday reality of a simple two-wheel commute?
That is a terrifying thought.
It really is. Just something for you to ponder the next time you're waiting to cross the street.